Hello. In this video I'd like to do some troubleshooting. I recently purchased an EdgeRouterX to go along with my EdgeRouter 4, and I decided to break this thing out and open it up, and the interface is pretty much the same, so I think what I'm getting ready to do is going to apply to both EdgeRouter 4 and EdgeRouterX. But my troubleshooting techniques are going to primarily focus around packet capture. And I'm probably going to end up pausing this video quite a bit as I try to figure things out as I go along. I've obviously done destination NAT forwarding RDP traffic, basically from the outside to the inside, and being able to control this workstation here. But now what I want to do is I want to try to do some pinging. I want to see if I can pass ICMP traffic all the way through. I'm going to primarily focus on this one IP address here, 192.168.1.121. So let's just go ahead and jump into this real quick. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my EdgeRouterX, and I'm going to go ahead and jump on this Ethernet 0, and I'm going to add an IP address. So we're going to add an IP address, manually put it in there, and this is the IP address that I'm going to try to pass traffic all the way through, ICMP traffic to be exact. Okay, so now I'm listening in on this particular port. Now I'm kind of curious. I'm just going to do this on the fly as I go, see what I can figure out. So I should be able to go over here to this workstation and ping it. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. It's kind of what I was expecting. I shouldn't be able to ping it if I've got a firewall rule in place, which I do, because I ran the basic firewall wizard. Alright, so let's go back over here. So if I want to go over here to firewall policies, I'm dealing with my in. I'm going to edit a rule set, and I'm going to add a rule. And I'm just going to say allow ping or ICMP. And we're going to accept. I'm just going to allow, do I want to allow all protocols? I know that ICMP doesn't necessarily fall under TCP or UDP. Choose protocol by name. Let's see if I can do it. Yep, here we go. Cool. Alright, so it looks like I can choose a protocol by name. I want to do ICMP. So then let's go ahead and look at source. Advanced, we don't really care. We're going to allow any source, we're going to allow any, and I'm going to deal with the destination. I don't really care. I guess at this point I don't really care where the destination is going to be. I'll put the address in there later as I go forward. So let's just go ahead and hit save and see if this works. Nope, still unreachable. All right. Okay, so this is kind of what I expected. At this point in time, I'm going to pause the video, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so some of you might have caught what I did. When I put in this IP address here on Ethernet 0, I had 192.169, which ended up causing me problems. Took me a little while to finally figure out what I had done. Thought it was supposed to work the way it was supposed to work, and it just wasn't working. So basically what I did was I went into my firewall policies. I went into my wide area network policies. I think I had done this, or you guys had followed this before, so I want to allow ping or ICMP and hit accept. I chose the protocol ICMP. Then I didn't do anything with advanced, didn't do anything with source, and for destination I put the IP address of the internal WinTest3 box that I've got. And so then I went ahead. So that's just allowing the traffic through the firewall. But then I had to allow the traffic to the firewall. So I went up here to NAT, and I created this DNAT or destination NAT. Again, allowing ping. Inbound was my Ethernet 0. The translation that we're going to translate the information to is 10.10.10.22, which is the internal IP address. We're just doing ICMP, and the destination address is the one that I assigned to Ethernet 0. So, and that allowed the traffic to flow. So now what I want to do is I've got it set up so that traffic is not flowing all the way to the box, even though I know that that pathway is working. But what I want to show you, though, is I want to show you some capture techniques. So let's get rid of all this. Alright, so we're going to load under PuTTY. Okay, if you'll notice the username I'm using, Ubiquiti, that's going to be important when it comes time to where I'm going to actually put these files. Okay, so I'm in. So if I do a sudo command, I want to do a list of where I'm at. So sudo -home will show that I have a home directory, and I have another directory underneath that called Ubiquiti. So I'll show you a list of once I actually capture a packet. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and set up a command to actually capture some packets. I'm going to use this one right here. I haven't used this one yet. I just want to see how that works. So let's try it, see what happens. Sudo TCP dump. Actually, I want to do a D, because I want to see what my interfaces look like when I do this. Okay, so cool. So if I do a TCP dump -D, it gives me all the different interfaces that I have that's available that I could monitor on. In this case, I'm going to do we're gonna look at the traffic coming in from the outside. So we're going to do ETH 0. So I'm going to do sudo TCP dump -IETH 0. And then I want to do, I don't really care, I'm just going to do it ICMP, and I want to write this out to a file so I can look at it. So again, it's going to be the home directory, Ubiquiti, and this is just going to be test1.pcap. Okay, so now we're listening. So let me go back over here to my ping 192.168.1.121. And I don't expect any data back right now, but at least I want to make sure that the traffic is actually getting to the interface. Okay, so now that that's done, I want to do this again, only this time I want to hit Control C. Shows that I had 4 packets received. I'm going to try this same command, only this time I'm going to put it on 1. Okay, so I'm expecting the traffic to actually go out of Ethernet 1 to the internal device. So I'm going to do that. Let's go ahead and try to ping it again. Okay, so let's go over here. So you see I sent 4. And if I do a Control C again, I actually do see 4 packets going through. Alright, so now I know what's wrong with this, but I just want to show you that you can look at one side of the interface of the firewall and then the other side of the firewall. Basically talking about this. So I'm looking at this side of the firewall coming in, and I'm looking at this side of the firewall going out. Now, I know for a fact that in Windows Firewall, by default, it doesn't allow ping to go through. So let's just look at the firewall real quick. So if we go to, no, not that, sorry. Advanced settings, and we look at our inbound rules, I believe there's a rule down here called echo reply ICPM in, right? And it's not enabled. So if you want to keep your firewall up but still be able to ping it, I do believe we just need to enable that. I think it's a right click and then enable rule. So I'm going to do it on the other box on the inside, and let's just see what happens. So I want to go ahead and change this to 3, and I want to keep it on that interface. So let's go ahead and start this again, and then if I go over here and hit ping, hopefully this is going to work. And it didn't. Interesting. Okay, I think there's one more place I got to do this at. Again, I do want to do it with the firewall up. I could take the firewall down. I tell you what, I'm just going to take the firewall down real quick, and then I'll try it again. So, all right, the firewall's off. We're still capturing. I haven't stopped it yet. And now I'm going to get a successful ping all the way through. All right, so then I'm going to go back up here and hit Control C. So okay, so now that we've got, we obviously we have data over here. So if I do a sudo ls/home/ubnt, I see that I have my 3 files in that location. So now I'm going to go get those files and take a look at them. So I'm going to fire up WinSCP, and basically we're just making an SSH connection just like we do with PuTTY into this thing. And I'm going to do the EdgeRouterX. I want to log in. Same username and password as you would if you were using a PuTTY session. And there's my 3 files. So I believe in this case I've got a test folder over here. Let me just go change that real quick. Actually, I'm just going to delete this. And I believe I can just drag and drop. And the files are there. Okay, so let's look at the first one in Wireshark. And it's going to show that I'm hitting my destination address, but I'm getting nothing back. I'm just sending out a request. I got nothing coming back. Then on number 2, it should be pretty much the same thing. I'm hitting... Oh, that's interesting. Why it shouldn't show the destination as 10.10.10.22. Oh yeah, it does. Stop. I'm sorry. No, that was from the inside, so I should see that. So what I'm doing here, what I see here is I see the traffic coming from my workstation on the outside, going through the firewall, and then going out of ETH1 and trying to hit 10.10.10.22. And this is the successful one, I do believe. Yep. So this is going all the way through with the firewall turned off. And I'm doing the request. The first 4 is the failures. Then I turn the firewall off, and then we're gonna hit the 5th one is the request, and then the response, and the request, and the response, and request and response all the way down. So this is just a way to troubleshoot your data flow and how everything flows through the device. If you can't get it through the device, you kind of have to go figure out what's going on with your firewall rules or with your NAT or forwarding or whatever you're trying to do. But at least this way, you can quickly determine whether the problem is a device on the inside or not. Because if the traffic is getting through, chances are there's something going on with the device on the inside, like in this case, it was the firewall. So I just want to make myself feel better, so I'm going to pause this for a second and go check the firewall. I think there's one other place I have to set that ICMP. I'll be back. Okay, so I figured out what the problem was, and that's the whole point of this. The way I'm doing this is to just go and figure out, look for problems. If I find a problem, and then figure out what's going on. So what I needed to do was on the firewall rule in the Windows environment, when I'm connected, if I'm not connected up to a domain, I'm either going to be public or private, so when you're looking at your firewall, I don't know if I have that up. So when you're looking at your firewall, you're either connected private, public, or domain. In this particular case, I'm connected to my private firewall. And so one of the rules in the firewall for the Windows environment is this one right here, where you're going to allow a ICMP packet in and then respond to it. But the problem is, so it's this one, private and public. So this is the one that's actually got the problem. The remote address says local subnet. So you actually have to go in here and go to scope and change this to any IP address, so that any IP address is then able to hit it and allow it to go through. So not only do you have to enable the rule, right? You have to go up here and right click and enable the rule, but you also have to change this so that it'll answer up to any ping from the outside. Anyway, I think that about covers it for this video. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up, add a comment, and by all means subscribe. I'm going to continue to do little stuff like this from here, and we'll go from there. So thank you again for your time.